Man, I'm gonna just be the oddball and say, man, fuck that Willie Lynch letter. We know what the problem is. We see that it's our community. Man, I'm gonna just be the oddball and say, man, fuck that Willie Lynch letter. We know what the problem is. We see that it's our community. We see that it's our culture. This the problem is directly in front of us, and so is the solution. We can talk about this Willie Lynch letter for God knows how long, and we've been talking about it. I'm me personally, I'm 37. Let me finish, Kenny. I'm 37. For at least since I was 8, I've been hearing about this Willie Lynch letter. So if this is something that we've been acknowledging for this long and we haven't been able to overcome it, man, fuck that letter. We see what the problem is. Let's address it. Let's get our community back together. Let's bring back the value. See, the problem is that we don't have any value for the culture, for the community. There's no longer a value of family. There's no longer a value of the Holy Trinity of man, woman, and child. So of course that is going to happen. And it's not going to change until we change that. And we have to be proactive at it by making the better solutions and better choices in what it is that we give our energy to.
Okay, that's it's easy to say F something. When you're diagnosed with something, they have to get down to what it is first. And the trope that they commonly say, and I'm sure all of us know it, if you want to hide something from a black person, put it in a book. A lot of people said they heard of the Willie Lynch letter. Can you give me any details since you said F it, what it instructed?
I couldn't even tell you because I've never invested my energy into it.
So that means all that you said was null and void. That was
So
a that
so
was a
be it. But I'm the
that
only one that gave a solution.
that was a blueprint. If you don't know what your ailment is, how are you going to provide a solution? If you tell me my toe hurt and you say rub some shoot some Windex on it, is that fixing it? No,
So
you have to be able to know what you're dealing with and then build up from that point. The Willie
so
Lynch, if you want to know, I will tell you. It is a blueprint of how they got West Indian slave owners to come and teach the slave owners on the US continent how to better subjugate their slaves. And the premise goes on till these days, because we never got healing. We never sat down as a group and clinically diagnose what we're going through. There's a lot. I'm not saying that we can use it as a crutch, because there's many that are higher thinkers that have been put in positions that are far away from it. But on a whole, the community is not healed.
Yes, there is only one thing left to do, ladies. Go into the woods and scream it all out.
To keep you thinking the same way that you're thinking, so you can think that we victims, and we not. We not victims.
Stating the facts and the truths about what we have endured and continue to endure is not victimhood. It's stating the facts, Anton. You can, if you aligning with this type of narrative about your own people, and you want to make it seem like racism don't exist, it never have, and we just being victims, you go right ahead. That works for you. But that's your reality. That's your delusion. But the facts are the facts, baby. It is what it is. But I'm gonna let you have it.
Previously on Here's the Solution.
That are dying on a regular basis, every single day. And so you want to sit here and act like I don't know what I'm talking about. I know exactly what I'm talking about. And this is why it's so difficult for black people to draw them out of this mindset, because they don't want to listen to facts. They want to listen to feelings.
Previously on Here's the Solution.
that don't owe you nothing, that's all you need is to be thankful for. I can't believe that we sitting here acting like we that blessed and we that privileged to where it's a privilege to be able to raise your head. Get on out of here with you. Okay, well then listen, figure it out. Brenda's got a baby. Figure it out then amongst your own community. The question that we should be asking ourselves is, why is there so many black kids in foster care in the first place? Not how many people can put themselves in a position to really be able to help them. That's
Why
crazy.
aren't they helping?
And now we got to sit here and say, oh, wait a minute. You got to make sure you acknowledge the black experience. No, the problem with this culture in the first place is that too many adults are putting their own trauma and their own issues.
So
you have to be able to know what you're dealing with and then build up from that point. The Willie Lynch, if you want to know, I will tell you. It is a blueprint of how they got West Indian slave owners to come and teach the slave owners on the U.S. continent how to better subjugate their slaves.
They have never, ever really even been through nothing in the first place. They watched a film on slavery, but yet they still doing the worst thing for their own community, yet they want to hold somebody else accountable for putting some resources or giving an opportunity to another kid that ultimately is not going to appreciate them in the first place, because they still going to be standing on this whole blackity black culture in the first place. Yet they was raised in a privileged environment in which they gave you an opportunity. And you know, CJ, I'm disappointed in you, bro. I really am disappointed in you, because you came up here talking all of this black shit tonight, but you had an opportunity that was given to you based off of somebody that didn't have to do shit for you, and you still talking this black shit instead of trying to get away from and make sure that we demolish all of this dumbass divisiveness within this culture that's just distracting us from the real issues that's really happening. Yet y'all still leaning on this victim Olympics like somebody owe y'all something. You blessed. You blessed.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Shit, I'm black, even though my skin's kind of light. That mean my ancestors by somebody white. I'm black.
You've been blessed with an opportunity that obviously whoever it was that left you wasn't fucking with you. And yet we want to sit here and talk about acknowledging a black experience. That's a construct. The very idea of saying something is black and then leaving a connotation of a color, which y'all really don't even understand, is a construct that's given to you and passed down to you based off of the trauma. And yet you don't even acknowledge the very people that sold you into slavery in the first place. And yet we want to hold somebody else accountable because they was the winners. This is dumb as fuck.
I think what you're saying,
I'd be remiss to completely ignore all of the different people, both black, white, Asian, Mexican, Latino, and all in between, that has given me opportunities or has fought for this country. You know, it's almost like we trying to gatekeep this dumbass cultural dumb experience of trying to be full of trauma. The minute that you stop looking in the rear view and you start looking in front of you in the windshield, you'll be able to drive straight. And you can start leaning on the shit that they fought for. It was both black and white people that was freedom riders that fought for civil rights. It wasn't just black people. And they got rid of this shit so that y'all can walk away from it, yet y'all still trying to hold on to it in a way in which you're holding somebody else accountable for raising a child that nobody gave a fuck. Seriously, are we having this conversation about trying to justify the black experience? What the fuck is the black experience? We all live in a melting pot. If y'all did a DNA test, you'll realize that you're more mixed than you really are. And yet y'all still lean on the black experience. And that very thing, in a way that we substantiate whether or not you black or not, is given to you by somebody that didn't give a fuck about you, and you still using that to qualify whether or not you even label yourself a certain type of way. You a human being. That's it. That's it. You a human. Yeah. We all are meant to do the right thing by each other, yet y'all still want to align yourself.
All that is fine and dandy.
Y'all still want to align yourself with something based off of something you can't even control. All y'all doing is perpetuating stereotypical racism in a way that we tried to get away from it historically since the beginning of time. Y'all still dividing yourselves by qualifying yourselves and then making it seem like y'all going through shit when you got the greatest opportunity of some of the most white people in the world across the country and overseas, and y'all don't take advantage of it just so you can still lean in the victim Olympics and still blame somebody else for y'all problems. This shit is old. It's 2024. Ain't nobody stopping y'all and still holding on to this dumbass black experience. This shit is dumb, man. It's a melting pot. And Quentin, sick of you too, because your ass is dating white women and you still sitting there talking about this black shit. All of the people up here is doing the same shit that they complaining about, yet they sitting here running in the victim Olympics. He raised by white parents. He date white women.
I'm not white.
I date all women, not just women.
So, Jazz, hold on, Jazz. Wait.
Crazy, bro.
Jazz, hold on.
You know what the worst part about it is? It's the very one that's married to the darkest woman that got to sit here and have this fucking conversation with y'all. All of y'all out here fucking everybody.
I just think you're being deliberately.
I'm married to the black woman on the panel, and yet I'm the one that's got to have this conversation with y'all.